Mesdames, Messieurs.
We caught up with our good friend Reese Cooper as he showed his debut collection here at Palais de Tokyo. So I talked with him backstage about his influences and how he really came up. If you remember, last season we interviewed him at his showroom. Now he has the presentation. Okay, we are here with Reese Cooper. How are you, man?
I'm better now. An hour ago I was freaking out, but I'm happy to be here now.
It's so crazy because I interviewed you last season and we were in the showroom, and now this is your debut collection. How does it feel?
Like a huge step up, but not that different in the workflow. The idea of the show and the sets we're basically just building out like what it's like for us to shoot lookbooks back in California.
And we're literally standing on dirt. How did you come up with this concept, and what was the vibe of the show?
Well, the concept was between me and this incredible company called PlayLab, and we worked on this, and the goal was really just to illustrate what it's like, what the brand is from my point of view. And so my time is spent at the studio in California, like shooting lookbooks in the woods and running around in nature essentially, and then making clothes during the weekdays. And so we wanted to just, like the exposed lighting, all the props and stuff, like the backdrops that are clearly like not too realistic. We just wanted to like really drive in the point, like I'm pushing you in the direction to see it like from my point of view, while keeping it like open and you see all the set.
And that's also why the jacket's like the one you're wearing right now is really kind of technically advanced. It's like super warm even though it doesn't look really warm. Can you talk about the process of how you decided to make these clothes really able to be worn outdoors?
Yeah, there's a lot of cool new things that we're doing this season. Like the denim, for example, is with this new company called Wiser Wash in LA. Like it's full eco-friendly washing. Like it takes less than a cup of water to do all the distressing from indigo. And then like the jackets, this is like Primaloft fill, super warm but thin. And then a lot of technical waterproof fabrics. We did a lot of custom new fabrics. Like I really just tried to take it a step up this time. Just I felt like if we're gonna do something like this, and now I feel like I know what I'm really trying to say, we gotta go all in.
And Hank did the music. You can talk about that too?
Yeah, so me and Hank did this music. He did like the original score for the Runaway Walk, and then we were just doing that back and forth through FaceTime. Like I just hit Hank like 3 days ago. I was like, yo, I should have hit you earlier, but here's what I'm trying to do. And I sent him like 2 or 3 different things on YouTube, like forest sounds, play with this. I was like, open all these tabs at the same time, hear what I'm hearing, and then like, let's go. And so he created like the first part of it. I was like, okay, let's slowly build up this into it. And then Baby Keem sent me the instrumental for Stats for the finale.
Shout out to Baby Keem, dude. Shout out to you too, man. Congratulations. I caught up with the brother and sister duo, the masterminds behind the Colette Mon Amour documentary. Hughes and Elien Losembody are the masterminds that put together this beautiful work. So we talked to them about how they did it, how they got the interviews, and when it's coming out, and we also have an exclusive clip. What's good? This is Noah from Highsnob, and this is a very special interview with the sister-brother duo behind Colette Mon Amour, the documentary. We are here with Hughes and Elien Losembody. How are you guys?
We're great, thank you.
Fine, thank you.
All right, so first off, were you guys thinking of doing a Colette documentary before the announcement, or when the announcement came, that's when you all were like, wow, we need to showcase how special the story is?
Definitely after we heard about the closing. So then after a few weeks after the shock, we talked to Sarah and proposed her to do a documentary about the store.
And how did you reach out to all of these people, because you have such incredible talent and so many legends in this documentary? Was it easy? Were they like, oh man, what? Of course I'm gonna be in this, or was it a race?
I will say it was super easy. Like everybody was truly touched and emotional about the closing. So people were really appealed to testimony about their own experience with that store. Because what a lot of people don't know about it is Colette was a real lunch space for a lot of people from every industries, from food to fashion to photography to art in general, and of course, obviously, fashion style, but also street style. So it was a huge space to express, I will say, culture, and a little bit like a museum. And so people were really, really, really happy to talk about it.
And what do you want the people to take away? I mean, because, you know, when people watch this movie, all they're going to want to do is go to Colette. You know, so what would you tell that person, and what do you want them to kind of, you know, leave the theater thinking and feeling?
We try to also share some values that Colette was. Colette was about love, was about beauty, it was about fun, it was a place about hard work, really. Really, it was something very important. It was about family, because it was a real family team, I will say, and we tried to make people feel that emotions and values through the film, and I hope we succeed. That's it.
And here's an exclusive clip from Colette Mon Amour.
C'est une histoire d'amour au cœur de Paris.
This is Emily Bode's second time showing in Paris, so we went backstage to catch up with her about how she feels, her influence for the collection, and how she manages to stay sustainable even though her brand is growing at such a rapid pace. So we are backstage with Emily Bode. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so the collection was called The Education of Benjamin Bloomstein.
Yes.
For those that aren't familiar, who is that?
He is a good friend and collaborator of mine. We've known each other for over 10 years. He's the co-founder of Green River Project, who has worked with me on art direction and sets for, since I launched in 2016. And this was a really natural next step to building a narrative and a personal narrative with Ben, but also within my brand.
And I know that the collection, most of your clothes are almost all recycled, correct? How do you do that as you grow?
Yeah, so our annual production is around 40% made from antique textiles, and within our own flagship, it is almost around like 90%. And as we scale, I think it has a lot to do with our abilities to source, but it also is using techniques that aren't necessarily full garment antique. So we use a lot of dead stock patches and trims, and if it's not the fabric itself, it might be utilizing the historic mills, and it's not necessarily scaling within just antique fabrics, it's scaling within the preservation of history as well. So it's kind of like a two-part narrative around that.
And this collection, beautifully designed, the fabrics were so rich. What were you thinking about when you were creating this collection?
Gosh, I was thinking so much about the domestic space that always holds, it's a space that is such inspiration for me. So down to our shoes, we launched our first house shoe, which is it's made for a domestic interior, but we then reinterpret it for the outdoor space. And we also utilize a lot of domestic fabrics and then reproduce them using similar historical mills, but also American regions. So, coverlets from Pennsylvania and remaking them in 100% wool and kind of building upon that narrative.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We are still in Paris. I would like to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us on this journey. So this Fashion Week, we've seen a real change. First off, it doesn't seem like there's a ton of streetwear anymore. Brands, I don't think, are chasing the hoodies and the sneakers. They're bringing it back to simple tailoring and a good shoe. They're also bringing shorts into the equation. Remember, this is fall-winter, so it's really interesting to see a fall-winter collection with shorts. And we've not only just seen it on the runway, but we've also seen it in some street-style photos. Another thing, big boots. Chunky shoes are going nowhere. Platforms are getting even bigger. Boots are getting more chunky. Even sneakers are still very chunky. If you look at the Chris Van Ash video, we talk about it there. And last but not least, scarves. Really taking off. Just wrapping your neck with something very luxurious is very hot this season. Now that Fashion Week is to a close, it's only right that we bring back some of our favorite clips from the week. Please enjoy.
Good morning, man. Bright to the top of the morning, you know what I'm saying? We out here, Hot Snob, Migos, Rick Owens, Louis.
Yes, sir.
Harry Preston.
What else?
Whole slew of drip today, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just keep your eyes tight
Lot of
and
that.
keep that lens right.
A lot of that.
It's gonna be a good night.